Well, last night, Bill O'Reilly sounding off on the murder of a woman in San Francisco, a sanctuary city, saying that it is time that Americans realize exactly why an illegal immigrant and felon was in that city in the first place.
The alleged killer, 45-year-old Juan Francisco Lopez Sanchez, is a drug pusher and addict, a low-level thug who managed to enter America illegally 6 times. That means anyone in the world can sneak into this country. If that lowlife illegally crossed our border from Mexico 6 times, we don't have border enforcement. Does everybody understand that?
Strong statement last night. Katherine Timpf is a reporter at National Review, a Fox News contributor and a guest on the Greg Gutfeld Show on Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern. And Jessica Ehrlich is a former Democratic congressional candidate. Welcome to both of you. Very strong words. We do not have border law enforcement in this country, Jessica. And this family, I mean, can you imagine if this young woman were part of your family, how outraged you would be when you learned that this man had been kicked out of this country 5 times? Are we living in a country where we don't have any rules anymore?
Well, I think part of the issue is that we are always going to have a bad element that want to get in or out of the country, whether it's on the Mexican border or even on the Canadian border, particularly when it's a drug-related offense. These are things we've been battling for a long time.
5 times? The same person?
Yeah, once they find out how to do it, I mean, the issue
and they know where to go.
Right. So we need to make sure that we are fully funding and getting the money and resources.
Issue.
I think so.
It's a money issue?
It's a money and enforcement issue because the DHS...
How much would it have cost to pick up the phone and say, ICE, we're about to let this guy out. Please come pick him up. Not 1 red cent, Jessica.
Well, there's a lot of bureaucracy going on there, but it starts with him getting into the state of California in the first place. He didn't fly into San Francisco. He had to work his way up through the border.
That's right, because we have no border law enforcement. That's exactly the point.
That is a funding and an issue where it needs to come together on a bipartisan issue to make sure that this is addressed.
Let me bring Katherine in here. Is this a money issue?
How can anybody say this is a money issue? This is a sanctuary city, which means there are specific laws saying, no, you know, we're not going to deal with immigration. We're going to say, hey, go ahead, go for it. That's the specific law that clearly led to this. It's not that they didn't have enough money to deal with it. That's got nothing to do with funding. Sanctuary city is what specifically led to him being allowed to go back and go back and go back and go back.
Sanctuary city, which is something where I think their idea is that they want to make sure that people who have not committed crimes but are here because they want to become tax-paying, law-abiding Americans.
Hold on. No, I just want to stick with the facts here, okay? The sheriff said, well, we didn't have the right paperwork, so we had to let him go. Do you believe that? Or do you think that he said, you know what, we're not listening to ICE. We don't answer to ICE in San Francisco. I mean, that is the long record that we have seen from the city. I guess I don't understand. I don't see why this would be a partisan issue. I think it should be quite clear that we have a country that is lacking rules that people feel they have to stand by. And I also don't understand why the president isn't outraged about this. Where is the president talking about this young woman's death? We've seen him with Freddie Gray in that incident with Michael Brown. We've seen him in Charleston, and justifiably so. Where is he, Jessica, on this story?
That I can't really speak to. I mean, I think there's a tremendous amount of outrage that should be felt on both sides. And I do agree with you that it should be a bipartisan issue. And the concern should be that we are working together to make sure that we have the reform necessary so that we can stop these people, so that we are actually fully funding our law enforcement on the borders, and then taking away the problem that becomes, instead of getting trapped, is the people that are already
Obama's
here,
not talking
that
about
aren't killers, that aren't.
I want to stick with the question, which was at hand. Where's the reaction from the White House, Katherine?
It's not politically convenient to talk about it, not just because it's a border issue, but also this was a federal agent's gun, which goes to support the idea that, hey, even if there are gun control laws, maybe criminals will still be able to get them and break the law, because breaking the law is literally what criminals do. So there's so many reasons why this is politically inconvenient, and we have a president, we have an administration that has a repeated record of not bothering to talk about things that are politically inconvenient and jumping to talk about things that are.
All right, we got to leave it there. Well, ladies, thank you very much. Good to have you both here today.